Look at that. Blind spot camera. Right here. Right in front of me. If you've been following my channel, it's no secret that the Model X is my favorite Tesla. And it's been that way for a while. I mean, it's my only Tesla that has a designated spot in the garage. The only time it's not in the garage was the other day because I just washed the Cybertruck and the Model 3. I had to, keep those in the garage. So it rained like unexpectedly the next day. So I had to keep those in the garage. But other than that, the Model X stays in the garage, right? That's its spot. It's my baby. It's the only one with a front PPF to protect it. It's the only one with a ceramic coating on it, right? So I do love the Model X. And I loved my 2020 Model X, the Raven, the one that everybody talks about is the best Tesla. You know, that's what people say. Because of the charging curve, because of the blah, and also because of the blah. And I mean, I don't know about all that stuff, right? All I know is I love my Model X. I had some issues with the Falcon Wing door that they fixed, and I'm starting to have a little bit of issue with this one too. But, we'll talk about that. But the thing is, I would have kept my 2020 Model X, but I upgraded. And I'm going to tell you guys why I upgraded. I mean, the hardest part about giving up that Model X was the unlimited supercharging. And we used it. Every road trip that we took, we used that vehicle because of the limited supercharging. Vegas, Arizona, Reno, up northern California. We always took the Model X with the limited supercharging because of the unlimited supercharging. Right? I mean, it's like free gas. If you can travel anywhere for free. And giving that up was hard, but I'm gonna tell you why we gave it up and why we did upgrade. The first thing, there were some issues starting to pop up with the Model X, and it was out of warranty. I think I had 70,000 miles on it, close to 70,000 miles on it. And it still ran well, but there was a clicking noise, right? And I took that in. They fixed it for like $300, out of warranty again, right? So they fixed it for like $300. And then little things here and there start popping up. And I actually made a list of all those problems. And some of those problems, like, some were cosmetic, like the trunk latch was kind of messed up. I did have the windshield repaired, so you couldn't really notice it, but it was a little crack and we had it filled in. Sometimes the door wouldn't close and I had to, come back and push it in. And, whenever we went to a valet, we had to tell them, like, hey, make sure that door closes, because otherwise they would just, assume that it closes. Or even if you push it closed, sometimes it would stay a little ajar and I'll get a notification in my app. And I'm like, dang, all right, I gotta fix that, right? And my steering wheel controls didn't really work, like the voice commands. To get the voice commands to work, I had to press the horn in, and then it would record whatever I wanted to say. Watch this. All right, it doesn't work. To get it to work, I have to press the horn. Play Jay-Z. Isn't that funny? And I looked online. I don't know. Some people had that same issue, but that was another thing. And again, little things. The door was probably the most annoying. Sometimes our windows would get stuck down or stuck up. Stuck up. It'll be, closed and we can't open it. So a bunch of little things like that. And we're like, dang. But definitely not deal breakers. Absolutely not. But little things here and there, I'm like, man, I'm getting a little nervous. But again, the overall experience was still great. But it did start to feel a little outdated. It was a 2020. This is 5 years later. It did feel a little outdated. It did have a retro feel to it. Has the vertical screen, which I thought was cool for maps. I actually liked it for maps, but it wasn't great for media. But the old processor in that anyway, media was slow. It would lag, and it was like that from when I first got it. I made videos about that too. It had wood grain, a lot of wood grain, and that walnut wood grain. That looks pretty cool. But it's funny, like recently, more and more people start commenting on it, like in the drive-thrus, like, oh, look at that. They thought we customized it. They thought we made it like that, but it was just, it's just an old school style, I guess, or people don't see it that much when you get a Tesla. Most people that buy Teslas, they buy a 3 or a Y, and it doesn't look like that on the inside. but I kind of like the interior. Nothing where it's like, oh, we got to get rid of this car. But then I bought a Tesla Model S 2013, $10,000, somewhere around there. And then I brought it home. And the moment I brought it home and tried to charge it, all these battery errors came up. I'm like, oh, no. And I started researching it, looking it up. And I was like, dang, I ain't about to. Yeah, I spent $10,000 on this car, but how much is the battery gonna cost, right? $15,000. The least expensive I saw battery was $12,000, and I'm like, no, that's $22,000 for this old car, and then that got me nervous. And now I'm wondering, like, oh no, we got this Model X out of warranty, and it was almost paid off. I had like a year left, less than a year to pay it off, which is kind of hard to also give up, besides the unlimited supercharging, because we're about to go without any car payments. But whoa, damn, dude, y'all didn't see that. That full self driving hit that left lane hard, like I felt like I was on a roller coaster. Anyway, so less than a year left to pay it off. And we're like, what do we do? And then they came up with some crazy deals, end of the year. And I was just, looking around. And that's when I picked up the Model 3. A month before, I picked up a Cybertruck. And I was just looking like, man, this might be the time to upgrade, And we did look at different models. And another thing that was kind of hard to give up was a 7-seater in the other one. This is only a 6-seater, but I'll explain why we did that. But, man, we started looking, and then they started having some crazy incentives towards the end of the year, some crazy incentives. And we had a person working with us at Tesla, and she was looking for all kind of Model X's for us. She sent us some pictures, some other ones. She sent us some links of some. But then there was the one I'm sitting in right now, where she was like, you know what, it meets all your criteria, but it's red. And I turned to my wife, I was like, you always wanted red. She was like, we did always want red. So basically, we got $6,000 off of this car, and it's $6,000, but also they included this 6-seater. It was a demo vehicle. It had, man, I'm talking on top of my head. It had less than 1,000 miles on it, or 1,000, something like that, right? It was a demo vehicle, $6,000 off. It comes with full self-driving. It came with the 6-seat interior. It came with a steering wheel, not a yoke, and a red color, right? So I'm looking at all that. I'm like, man, and the cream, we always like the cream. And again, I think cream might look outdated before the white or the black, but I don't know, we always like the cream. I was like, this is the perfect vehicle that matches our configuration. Now, we do have 7 people in our family, but my in-laws, they ride with us sometimes, and sometimes they don't. Most of the time, they do not ride with us. But it is nice when they do ride with us and we have all 7 seats. So it's like, okay, perfect. So we're like, should we drop down to the 6-seater? Because obviously we love the 6-seater. I mean, it just looks cool. Those captain seats right there. We got the captain seats back there. It's easier for people to get in the 3rd row. And there's something to be said about the 6 seats that, they look pretty cool. And I like how I can just actually I guess I could do this in the 5-seater, but I never did. Like my coffee cups, I can sit in the bottom right here in the middle at the bottom where it stays, because, there's nowhere really a place to put it. And the kids are more comfortable in here. I have 3 boys. They're more comfortable, and sometimes they'll sit 2 in the very back and 1 in the captain, or sometimes they'll do 2 in the captain, 1 in the back. But they're comfortable in here. They like taking this. Of course, that screen back there. It didn't have a screen in 2020. But we're actually getting it for $3,000 less, because on my 2020, there was an extra charge for it being a long range. You see how they do stuff? And they didn't include that. They didn't add that charge on this one. We're paying about the same, though, because of the interest rates are a little higher than they were when I got that in 2020. But overall, it's a better vehicle. The one thing I will say that's noticeable is the ride quality, how comfortable it is. Because you know what? The Model X already, it feels like a yacht on wheels. My 2020 felt great. Then I got my Cybertruck, and I'm like, whoa, how can a Cybertruck with the same air suspension, well, a newly tuned air suspension on a Cybertruck, I was like, wow, how does this feel more smooth than my Model X, right? And I was like, that's crazy, the Cybertruck. But then I got this one, the 2025, and I'm like, okay, the crown is back on the Model X. The 2025 Model X, it feels like nothing else. This is a premium ride quality. It is smooth. It is comfortable. I'm like, man, this is a yacht on wheels. Another reason why this is one of my number one favorite Tesla. Oh, I love my Cybertruck though. And I really do like my Model 3, but you know what? Model X. And people who hate on the Model X, oh my goodness. They talk about how expensive it is, which is true. They talk about it's not worth it, just get a Model Y. We're going to do a comparison soon. I'm going to have that new Model Y so we can compare it. But, man, the ride quality is unparalleled. I'm going to pull up in here and get some eggs real quick, and then I'm going to get right back to y'all. It feels amazing the way it drives, and this is a 17-point-something inch screen, which is not as big as the Cybertrucks, but it's huge. I love how the screen can tilt towards me. I had that vertical screen in the old one, and while I got the job done, I mean, this is just more usable. Also, with the latest update, look at that. Blind spot camera. Right here. Right in front of me. Right? Only the Model S and the Model X have this behind the wheel instrument cluster display. So it has two screens. And no, it's not the end of the world having one screen on the Model 3Y and Cybertruck. But this is a nice feature to have right in front of you. Of course, your speedometer right there. All the pertinent information that you need, like how much range, the temperature. I like having that visualization up there. But look at that. That's the perfect place for your blind spot camera. And it's so clear. Like, I understand the cameras are nice on the hardware 4, but the thing is, I didn't expect this to have such a great quality monitor behind there, right? But they thought all that through. But that's high quality. So I love that. But it's more modern in here. Look at that. More modern. I still got a little bit of wood grain, so I didn't lose that old school retro vibe, but much more modern. I had one wireless charger in my Model X in the 2020. I got two in here, and I mean, they're not the best wireless chargers, but they get the job done. And my one wasn't the best in the Model X in the 2020 anyway. But overall, everything's more zippier because of hardware 4. The latest and greatest, and that does future-proof you a little bit. The full self-driving is better in here than it was in the Model X, the 2020. I keep saying the Model X. They're both Model X's. In the 2020, it is better in here, but I didn't even have full self-driving in the other one. But when I did try it out for the test, it was, as you can imagine, it was suspect. Right? You can imagine. It was kind of boo-boo. Like 9-day difference. My 2020 had buttons galore down here, or stalks galore, stalk after stalk after stalk, and this one, everything's on the steering wheel. And some people like that, some people don't like that. They actually added on new Model Y, they brought the lane changing stalks back, and I'm not really a fan of that, because why just have one stalk sticking out right here? It's kind of, it's kind of weak. I'm going to turn it around. I don't even know. I don't even mean to come over here. See, I'm sitting here talking to y'all. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm supposed to be doing. I've gotten used to the turn signals right here. And again, the buttons aren't actual buttons, physical buttons. It's that capacitive touch you have on your cell phone with the haptic feedback. So a little vibration motor. And it's kind of weird. There's a little line here to help you know, but sometimes you can't really tell if you're pressing it or not, and that's kind of annoying. And I love having the camera button here. So when I hit that, I can see, like, there's no front camera that everybody say they want. And I kind of agree. I kind of wish I had a front camera on here. But when I park in the garage, I know what to look at. And I have my markers, but it's a lot easier than pressing on the screen, having it right here. Overall, the driving experience is much better, and the audio is about the same. They say they tuned it, but it sounded good in my 2020, and it sounds good in this one too. So that's about the same. But let's break down some other differences. Kind of flimsy, not really. My 2020 did not have a camera right here. This one does. So that's good and bad. It's good because now there's less nagging on the steering wheel. In my 2020, when I used autopilot, I had to, like, hit the steering wheel to let it know I'm paying attention. Now they're just watching me. So that's the bad part. They're watching me, right? So they know. But yeah, just overall more clean in here. Less congestion, less going on. All right, just overall cleaner, more refined. And of course, it got that beautiful walk away door closing. I actually used that today, and I wasn't trying to be, I wasn't trying to be too, I left my phone in there. How embarrassing. That's why it didn't work. But look at that red. Ooh, that red is beautiful. Oh, so now I got my phone. So yeah, when you walk away, you know what I'm saying? It does its own thing for you. It's like close. But look at that, man, that is beautiful. And basically what I'm thinking about is I'm getting a newer, more refined model in a cool color that we always liked, with the 6 seats that we always liked, with full self-driving. Then I see. Here's the thing: full self-driving or unlimited supercharging. Which would I rather have? Honestly, I'd rather have the unlimited supercharging, because we got 2 road trips coming up, and I'm trying to think which car am I going to take. I want to take the Model 3 because it's most efficient, but I don't have full self-driving on that. I want to take this or the Cybertruck because I have full self-driving on it, but they're less efficient, which means I'm going to spend more money at the superchargers. So that's what I'm like, man, what am I going to do? And we take a lot of road trips. We actually do. So that's a tough thing. But at least having full self-driving, when I go on these road trips, I don't have to worry about anything. But I could subscribe. If I had unlimited supercharging, I can subscribe for 1 month. But then, how much is the $99? If you think about how much I'm paying and fuel at the superchargers, oh man, well, first world problems, they say. But that's the deal. So, like I said, the 6 seats, man, I still got the plastic on there. Is that the plastic? Oh, I gotta take that plastic off. I'm gonna take that plastic off. But look, the 6 seats, beautiful, and it's just so my boys can easily hop in. All of them, even the back row, can see that screen, right? We didn't have the screen in 2020, but with a 7-seater, this is a whole bench seat, and whoever's sitting back here in the back row cannot see what's going on that screen or that screen. So it does work out. And as far as space, some people say, like, Tesla needs to come out with a 3-row SUV. People say that, right? Because they don't respect the 3 seats. In the Model X, they talk about there's no room. Well, I mean, how many adults can fit in the 3rd row of the other 3-row seats? So let me go right here. Boom. Fit. Let me go back there. And look, there's limited space. Look, man, they got gum wrappers. Look what's going on back here. But look, check this out. As I press the button to move that forward, the front seat moves forward too. And boom, okay. So if I come back a little bit. All right, so it's a little tighter. I got headroom. Nobody can sit next to me though. Nobody really. I mean, we squeezing. So yeah, honestly, one adult, but I'm a big dude. One adult back here, and you know, a kid. So yeah, that's the deal here. But my leg room is cool. It's all good. My headroom is cool. I mean, I'm not really tripping, but I ain't gonna be back here anyway. But yeah, if you got a big family, yeah, you probably ain't messing with any, you know, any electric vehicle because none of them are big enough. And even if they don't want to go through it right there, and they can move this all the way up. Look at that, still going, look at that. And then they can get in this way too. Just step in this way, right? So, oh my goodness, look what that, look at all this junk there. Look at that, look at all that. All this dirt in here. But anyway, yeah, it's not the most room in the world. Especially though, when you think about back here. And there's my eggs. So you don't have much room for luggage either when you're traveling. But that is the same. That was the same on my 7-seater. I mean, I can put these seats down. I guess the biggest difference is if I needed as much space as possible, I could put these seats down on both. Boom, 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 boom. And then I could push those forward, but in my 7-seater, I could lay it all flat. So I could have tons of space in here. But again, you can get a 7-seater 2025 Model X. So that was just my choice. But for my upgrade, is it worth it? Absolutely. I mean, it would have been nice not having any payments, any more payments. But I mean, just little things like having that rear screen for my kids. Having updated everything. And it's always going to be a time where you need to update, right? Where your car gets old. And I don't know, it was just the right time, the right price. It was a deal that was really hard to pass up. So I think I made the right choice. And I'm not worried now about, you know, being out of warranty. Hopefully I don't panic. If I didn't get that model, that 2013 Model S, I probably wouldn't have panicked the way I panicked. It was like, oh no, our Model X is out of warranty, but that's how it goes. But yeah, man, it's a beautiful vehicle. That's why I upgraded. I would have kept that 2020 because I did love it. But this one, man, I mean, it's just overall better. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget, Cobra told you. All right, y'all.